I have been trying to write this poem for the last 12 years, and it just came to me this week. It's the 3rd of May 1919 at St. Armand's, Phillipsburg. The black plastic sacks huddled together on the overhead rack like an act of defiance against the designer-labelled suitcase and bags. We had boarded the Amtrak at Amherst, Massachusetts. Already the carriage was almost full with middle-class white women who shouted to each other about how great this vacation was going to be. Tucked in the seats opposite us, almost out of sight, were a young man, an old woman, and a girl, little more than a child, who adjusted the pins in her black hijab as she looked out through the window. Maples, silver birchen and aspens were mirrored in the grime-splattered glass, tossing the newly unfurled leaves. The colour of blood would come later in the year. When the trolley cart came down the aisle, the young man waved it on, then opened a plastic container filled with biscuits and tangerines, peeled the skins and handed them out, segment by segment. The woman and girl dabbed the juices from their chins with swatches of white cotton. Now and then the man would lean forward and pat the girl's arm, and she nodded and murmured in return. But the old woman never spoke a word, as if she knew some civilizations are best nurtured in silence. The evening passed into night. The train trundled on. Most of the white women slept, some snored, but the dark eyes of the man never closed, as vigilant as an owl. A voice on the tannoy told us, change in 10 minutes for a bus that will bring you all the rest of the way. We rose and stretched. I stood behind the girl, close enough to smell the subtle spices and oudjents from the Middle East that still lingered on her skin. The line was long at the crossing. The border guards paced up and down, guns snug in holsters against hips. One of them poked the young man in the shoulder several times, each jab more vicious, then turned to the old woman and yanked off the frayed and torn headscarf. Frizzled grey hair tumbled about her shoulders, but she just stood as if she had turned to stone and kept looking straight ahead, as if alone and naked under the dazzling lights of the huge, cold compound. Another guard took the black sack from the girl and emptied the contents onto the floor, then put on a pair of plastic gloves. With finger and thumb, he gripped the elastic at the waistband, then did a little twirl and hoisted the knickers into the air. They were well worn, yet spotlessly clean, but for a small dark stain on the crutch. Some of the white women giggled. The girl blushed, bright as the leaves that would later in the year turn to the colour of blood, but without haste and with grave dignity. She took each garment from the floor, folded and put it back like an act of defiance. Finally, they were allowed through. When it was our turn to get to the customs desk, the guard snagged his thumbnail on the heart of my passport and told me, "Welcome to Canada, ma'am. Have a nice day."